I'm going to open up this moment of worship, this moment of praise with a prayer in English and Arabic. So pray with me. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahmanir Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in Ihdina siratal mustaqim siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghayril maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Ameen. In English translation, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Master of the Day of Judgment. You alone we worship, and your aid do we seek. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed your favors, not those upon whom your wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Ameen. This is the first chapter, which is called a surah. In the Quran, it's called the Al-Fatiha, the opening. This is a very important chapter in the Quran. It's considered the 7 oft repeated phrases that a Muslim says all the time, because it is the opening prayer of the Quran. The rest of the Quran is an answer to this prayer. And what we're praying in the Al-Fatiha, we're asking Allah to guide us on the straight path. We're asking Allah to show us mercy. We're asking Allah to help us in all that we do. We ask Him for His help, His aid, His assistance. So the answer to this prayer, the Al-Fatiha, is the Quran itself. I open up this moment of worship, which is really a table talk right now, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic, Assalamu alaikum. And in the English translation, this is peace be unto you. So to all those who are viewing, I wish you nothing but peace. I wish you nothing but health, strength, and I hope that something that I say will change your outlook of Islam, will give you some guidance that could be much needed for you. Inshallah means God willing. Well, I first want to say what was something that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam really focused on at the beginning of his ministry to his people. And so this is something I want to focus on as well. La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, it means in English that there is only one God and His name is Allah. So this is very important for us to come to the unity of worship when we come to the realization that there is only one God. And this one God that we refer to, it's a surah, Al-Ikhlas. And the Arabic words that I want to share with you are Qul huwa Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. Say, He, Allah, is one, the eternally besought and the eternal. He begets not, neither is He begotten, and there's none like unto Him. And so I kind of want to teach on this very briefly, that He, Allah, is one. You cannot make Allah out to be 2, 3, or 4. Allah is only one, the source of creation out of which all men and everything in creation have its origin. So we cannot divide Allah. This is the first principle. This is very important. La ilaha illallah. There is only one God. His name is Allah. And so when humanity comes to the realization that there is only one source of all creation, in which we should bow in worship and adoration unto this divine being who created the heaven, who created the earth, who created the sun, the moon, the stars, and who created us. when we realize that he's deserving of all of our worship and all of our energy and all of our attention. Nothing should come before Allah. Not our wives, not our money, not our jobs, not our health, not our families. Nothing should come before our worship to Allah. And when we get to this place that we not allow anything to come between us and our Creator, then our worship becomes pure. Our worship connects us to Allah, and when we connected to Allah, we're connected to the same force that created everything that we see in existence. Inna Allah, Allah kulli shay'in qadir. Allah have power over all things. Everything that we see is under the control and the power of Allah. Nothing can exist if Allah didn't decree for it to be in existence. This is why it's very important for us to say to ourselves, how was I created? Who created the earth? Who created the sun? Who created the vegetation? Who created these things in the earth that sustain us? And when we ask ourselves this question and we ponder the answer to this question, then we know that man cannot create grass. Man cannot create vegetation. Man cannot create tree. Man cannot create the sun, the moon, or the stars. There has to be a being that created these things that we see in existence. And the wise, after pondering such an issue, come to the realization that there has to be a creator of the things that we see in existence. And this creator we call Allah. This is in Arabic. The English word that we use is God. So it's not important the word that we use. It's the fact that we have to come to a place where we honor the one and only Allah, the one and only God who created everything that we see. And when we do this, we set ourselves on a path in which we can humble ourselves to this divine being that created us. And when we submit ourselves to the plan, the purpose, and the intent of the divine being that created us, Allah, when we submit ourselves to Him, then we find ourselves in a state of Islam. Islam only means to submit your will entirely to the will of Allah, entirely to the will of the one God, out of which we all came. And so, after you submit yourself entirely to the will of Allah, alhamdulillah, only by His grace and only by His mercy will one find Islam. Because the shaitan desires for the mankind to deviate from the path of Allah. So he always casts evil suggestions into our minds and into our hearts. And if we allow his evil suggestions to influence us, then we will begin to follow him and we'll begin to do bad things that will displease Allah. This is why it's so important for us to submit ourselves to the will of Allah. And when we submit ourselves to the will of Allah, we become ones who are called Muslim. And a Muslim is only an individual who is at peace. And you cannot be at peace if you have not submitted your will entirely to the will of Allah. So I admonish you, my dear brothers and sisters. I encourage you, dear brothers and sisters, to ponder these words that I say to you, because if you ponder these words that I say to you, you may come to the realization that there is only one God. The Christians, the Muslims, and the Jews, the adherents of these three religions. Initially, these three religions were all supposed to be monotheistic religions, not polytheistic. Monotheism is the belief in one God. Polytheism is the belief in more than one God. Well, it was Allah's intention for us to believe only in Him and not to divide Him into more than one. Because when something is divided, then it loses its strength. And so we cannot divide Allah. Allah is just one. And there's power in realizing that Allah is one. So I hope that these words encourage you. I invite you to Islam. I invite you to say La ilaha illallah and believe in your heart that there is only one God. And if you believe in your heart that there is only one God, then Allah will assist you. Allah will help you to understand Islam. And so these words that I've said have come to you after I've prayed. And so I believe that what I have said can be helpful to you, and that these are the words of Allah, not my own words. Anything that I said to offend you, anything that I said that was wrong, it's because of my human limitation. But everything that I said that was right and accurate and that was just and that was truthful have come from Allah. Let us pray. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta alaihim ghayril maghdubi alaihim waladdallin. Ameen. Praise be to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the beneficent, the merciful. Master of the day of judgment, you alone we worship and your aid do we seek. Guide us on the straight path, the path of those upon whom you have bestowed your favors, not those upon whom your wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray. Ameen. May Allah accept these words. May Allah bless you. May Allah give you guidance, and may Allah cause you to walk into the light of truth. Until the next lecture, be in good health and stay positive and know that everything will be all right.